about?
Hi, hello, and welcome to season 2 of Game of Two Halves podcast. Right off as we start, if you can predict how many episodes we released in season 1, you get a prize because we have been less than consistent. But welcome back again to season 2, and welcome to my friend, my rival, Vijay. Hey, Vijay, how are you doing?
Hey Valley, hey guys, welcome back to season two. And this time we promise we are gonna be more consistent. We are gonna have a much better engagement with you guys. And yeah, no Valley, we gotta do it, man.
Yeah.
I'm great, man. I have been waiting for this day, man. And it's been 75 days since we last
Wow.
Premier League game. So
Yeah, it's
super excited. There's so much football happening this year. We have the Premier League, the Champions League is starting early. We have the World Cup
Yeah,
happening
it's a
this year.
World Cup year. What an amazing year for
Yeah,
football, man.
amazing. So I am super excited. I
Yeah.
can't wait.
By the way,
What's
guys,
happening with you? You
by the way,
started a
guys,
new phase of your
no, no,
life.
no. I have to say this actually before we proceed. We were supposed
Yeah,
to bid for football tickets for the World Cup this year.
yeah.
And at the important time when I needed information on which days or which group to choose, my friend Vijay just disappeared. And then after 2 days, he replies, and then the deadline was over. So, because of you, Vijay, I'm not going to the World Cup. So this is our goal, Vijay. Before the next World Cup, we should have 100 subscribers.
I think it's doable.
So
What are
if
we at?
you,
70?
uh,
I think we are at 70, right? 70-ish.
yeah, I think two subscribers have dropped off between the last video we put out and now. It's time to get back. So, mom, if you're listening, please resubscribe to our channel. But anyways, let's get on with the show.
Yeah,
Welcome back,
before
everyone.
we start, Valley, between our last episode and now, you have started a new phase, right? You got married, and I was lucky enough to be your best man. So how's that going, man?
Oh, that's been fantastic. Yeah, it was amazing after almost 2 years of waiting,
Indeed.
pandemic and everything. While people were having babies, we were still just waiting to get married. And it was great to have, all my loved ones around me, my best man being my best man. It was
Thank you,
awesome. It
man.
was real fun. And yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
It's a new phase of life, enjoying. Finally joined Vijay to being a married man. Let's see how it
Yeah.
goes. Yeah, you know.
Hopefully, your marriage brings your team a little luck.
Yeah, hopefully, man. So, guys, stay tuned if you want to know how my team does or how my marriage does at the end of this season.
No, you'll still be married, but I don't know if you'll still be married to Arsenal.
I think since we're coming back into season 2, let's talk about what happened across the summer before we get into the games.
Yeah.
A lot of things happening. Chelsea has a new owner. Who would believe it? So let's. What are your feelings on that? We were discussing it at the end of last year about the changes. How is the Chelsea fan base taking it all in?
I think the fan base is very confident. I've been reading some articles, and the last stat I saw was more than 90% of our fans are very confident that under Ted Boli, the new era, Chelsea will do well. He seems like a very smart guy who is interested in the club. He is interested in winning. Maybe we'll get to know about his passion if it's the same as Roman a little later into the season, but at least he's willing to spend money. We've signed Sterling today. We have signed Cucurella from Brighton. Yes, we still don't have a proper number nine, but signs are all positive, man. And Tuchel is still there, which is a very good thing for us because I think he handled the situation very well last year, considering everything that was going on, right? And we finished in the top four, just behind City and Liverpool. So yeah, everything positive to look forward
Yeah.
to.
And I've heard that recently also he passed his exams, so now he's legally allowed to drive a bus. So I think that's also good.
Yeah, I didn't know about this. Why are you keeping track of our owners, man?
It's just kind of back up. Last year they weren't sure whether they would be able to make it to the away games, and it's good to know that Tuchel's got
Him
uh,
maybe.
a heavy
Yeah.
driving license, so for sure 38 games you guys will make it to.
So,
But what do you have to say about all the memes going around with everyone that Tuchel looks at, Xavi goes and handpicks them from your basket? Or what's happening there? Four of your top targets gone to Barcelona. Does that show that your guys are showing good interest in the right players, or does that just show that Chelsea is no longer the team that could go and get their players from the market?
no, I don't think so, man. I don't think so that we are a team who can't get their players. I really haven't followed the news properly for these guys who didn't join Chelsea. But yeah, Barcelona somehow ended up hijacking our some of our targets, man. And I'm sure it's happened with you guys also, right? We all
Yep.
were bidding for somebody and Spurs or someone comes and takes them under your nose. So
Yep.
it happens. It's football, man. People, players. Rafinha was linked to Chelsea heavily, but then he chose to go to Barcelona. So I think it comes down to the players as well.
And
And
how do you think Chelsea is doing at the moment in terms of being ready for the season? That if you talk to a lot of people in football, people watching Premier League, there is some skepticism this year about Chelsea. People are saying that I mean, not people, I think fans are talking about the lack of a striker, Lukaku being a failed experiment in a year,
yeah.
the new ownership, a lot of players wanting to, I mean, actively leave Chelsea and find other employment, and even the signings that have come in are not the most exciting signings. Like if you look at Chelsea's history, yes, we've seen that Chelsea does sign on players almost towards the end of the window, the last 10, 15 days, a lot of activities, but always a lot of excitement, on some of these big names coming in, or, big expectations. But uh, not big signings if you look at it. Sterling, good signing, but does he really excite the fan base? Is he at the same level as even a Lukaku or a Haaland? Doesn't really excite a lot. Do you think you're going into the new season? You guys are fully prepared.
Uh, I agree with you on some points. The absence of a striker, right? So you need a proper number nine, and Lukaku was that really didn't go well. But Sterling is a proven Premier League player. He plays for the country. He was, if I'm not wrong, I think he was one of the top three goal scorers for Man City last year. So, or
Okay.
maybe even the top. I was just reading that stat a couple of days back. So he Premier League is his thing. Okay, so he doesn't need any this thing to prove now. But I am not a very big fan of Sterling because when what I've seen him in at Manchester City, most of the goals he scored last year were like very easy goals.
Mm.
So but I'm hoping that he can get even better. He's young. It's not like he's old.
Yeah.
Um so I have some good expectations from Sterling. He's fast, okay, and hopefully we have enough creativity on the wings to feed him balls. But then again, it's all about not having that number nine. And I think where we struggled last year was defense, mainly because James and Chilwell was injured for the longest time last season. So now both are back. Plus we signed Cucurella. He plays on the left side. He can play the wing back. Plus he can play in the back three also on the left. Plus we signed Koulibaly from Napoli, I think. So he is a great defender, man. He's a great, and I think he's a great replacement for Rudiger, who was excellent for us last year. So yeah, we have strengthened a few areas, but then I think you need that number nine, someone like Ronaldo, someone like Kane who'll score you 15, 20 goals this season.
Yeah.
So
And who could that be
given
for
that,
Chelsea this year? Who would you target? Who would be your number one target right now?
I am not very sure, man. I mean, Harry Kane would have been the best striker. He would have just have to move from north to west. Live in London, not that far away. So yeah, there are rumors that Ronaldo wants to come, but I really don't fancy Ronaldo because
Yeah.
with him comes a lot of other headaches. He comes with that ego. He would change the entire atmosphere in the dressing room.
What about the
So
rumors about Aubameyang? There's over the last 2 days, there's
yeah.
been some rumors about that. Do you think Aubameyang is something that Chelsea needs right now?
See, it's a long season. Plus, there's World Cup. Plus, there are so many competitions to play. So, I think we could do with Aubameyang, and there would be nothing better than beating Arsenal's ass with Aubameyang.
Yeah, I think there's a long way for you to talk about that, especially given the preseason 4-0 pasting you got.
Oh, that means nothing, man.
I
Because
know, I know, I know. If it was
who's
the
playing
other way
Champions
around,
League? Who is playing Champions League?
if it was the
You're
other way
playing
around
or we are
and
playing?
Arsenal were 4-0 beaten by Chelsea, you would be singing this
No,
right from the start.
no, dude, no, dude. I mean, I'm being honest. I didn't even watch that game. I just caught the highlights. We were terrible. Arsenal played really well. Arsenal, I think, had a really good preseason,
Yeah.
but I think that's all they'll have.
Nice. All right. Moving on that note to some other big signings, quick mentions. Obviously, Haaland coming to the Premier League finally. Everyone's been kind of expecting Haaland coming in. Nunes to Liverpool seems to be, I think, one of the best signings of the summer, if you ask me. Because the way he's kind of come in preseason, I watched a few highlights. Honestly, I've not watched the games, but the way he's come in and already started gelling with the team, scoring goals, I think that's Haaland and Nunes would be the two forwards to watch out for. Arsenal's had a few signings. I think
Yeah, what do you have to make of Arsenal, man? I mean, the preseason form and what are your expectations of your team?
I think you'd hear it on a lot of channels, a lot of news that Arsenal maybe after almost a decade look like a team that's ready to start the Premier League. I'm not even talking about competing or giving a run for the top four. I'm just saying they're ready to start the league. If people remember, last year we lost our opening game to Brentford, a newly promoted team for the first time in the Premier League. So we lost
I
on
watched that
on the
game.
opening day itself. Not only that, 3 weeks later, we were bottom of the league. So number 20, 0 points, zero goals scored, and number one was Spurs, Tottenham, after 3 weeks. So you could only imagine what a disastrous start Arsenal had, and from that position, and mind you, Premier League is so competitive. So being 3 weeks zero on every kind of parameter to be at fifth place, I think was still quite a good achievement. It wasn't the best and not something that we should expect from an Arsenal team, but to be ending up at the fifth place over Manchester United, who had a much better team, I wouldn't ask for more. But I think this year the expectation is higher for me. I think top four is non-negotiable. In terms of what we need to achieve, along with maybe a trophy if possible. But I think top four is what is needed. And the signings like Gabriel Jesus coming in, I think for the first time in his career, he's actually got the role he needs to get.
Mm.
Always played second fiddle to Aguero and the other Man City guys who were like the main focus of it. He plays nationally for Brazil. You're already competing with Neymar, for that top striking position among others. So I think
Yeah,
here having that sole position where he's going to be the out and out number nine striker for Arsenal will give him that opportunity he's not got in his career, and he's just 25, so he's still young. He's
yeah.
still got a lot to prove. It's a World Cup year, like we said, so I see him being very well. I'm quite excited to see Vieira, the new Vieira who's come in. So he's still injured, but I think he's going to be a crucial part, especially in the strategy where maybe they could be playing two false eight kind of positions. So maybe Odegaard and him just behind the striker's position. I think that could be an interesting strategy because we need to have a lot of goals from midfield this year if we are going to compete. Because if you see last year, we didn't score much. And Zinchenko, I think at left back, really, really boosts the team a lot because that's a position we've suffered with. We had Tierney who's not had a great
Yeah.
fitness kind of record. So the minute, I mean, it's like going from a Bentley to my Tata Nano. So if Tierney is out, we go to straight Tavares, who's gone on loan
Uh,
now,
yeah.
and it's a big drop. So I think
I think
Zinchenko
I
is
think
going
that
to.
was partly the reason you all struggled towards the end of the
Yeah,
season, I guess, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Not only the
Yeah,
end of the
because
season,
of
we struggled from,
depth
to be
lack.
honest, from the first game. We didn't have five of our top 11 players for the first game because
Yeah,
of COVID and stuff like that. But, you know, in football, you can't really excuse that because you need
correct.
to be prepared. You have 24 players you can use, and it doesn't mean that you should have only 10 good players and other bunch 14 just crap.
Yeah.
So I think Arsenal have improved a bit on the quality, and I think for the second year in a row so far, higher spenders in the transfer market. It's a long shot, and I think there's a lot to work on. So I think that's. I think we can move on to other teams. We've spoken a lot about Chelsea and Arsenal and a few of the top hires. This season, and it'll be quite exciting. Any particular summer transfer that sparks your interest this year so far?
Yeah, it has to be Haaland, right? We spoke
Yeah.
about him briefly, but it has to be Haaland. Having him in the Premier League just raises the level of the league itself, right? And not that City need him to win the Premier League because they did that without a striker last year.
Yep.
But it'll be interesting to see how they fare in the Champions League.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited to watch him. He's gone straight into my FPL team, and we'll talk about it later. But yeah, he is somebody who is very interesting. And I think at Perisic also, he's joined
Yeah.
Spurs. He's an exciting left
Yeah,
back.
that's a good signing. That's a really good signing
And
for Spurs. Have made
yeah,
six signings so far, and that have really
yeah,
overhauled the team. Bissouma, Perisic, and a lot of good talent
yeah.
coming in there. So
Richarlison.
yeah,
Yeah. A lot of
yeah,
good signings. So excited to see him as well because they
yeah.
have had their own problems right on the left flank. Um, they never had like a stable person. So let's see how it goes, man. A lot of and plus three newly promoted sides, so a lot of stuff to watch out for.
Yeah. And next, we can talk about the top four predictions for the season. It's always going to be interesting because at the start of the season, it's always exciting. There's so many new signings coming in. What are your top four for this season, 22-23?
I will go with the same top four. I think City are they look way too strong. They've even signed Alvarez. I think he's a striker,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of buzz around the town that he is going to be a top striker. So plus Haaland, and I think I'll stick with City to win the Premier League, followed by Liverpool, then Chelsea, and then Spurs. That would be my top four.
Wow.
What about you?
Yeah, for me, I think Liverpool would be targeting the Premier League again this year. So I feel there'll be a lot more focus and energy on the Premier League, and I think they've made some strategic signings which will really. I think the loss of Mane would be felt quite a bit, but I still see Liverpool quite strong in challenging for. They're a well gelled side. They're a well oiled side. They've like matured together as a group now. So it's difficult sometimes, to get. They have that winning mentality. They have that habit of winning. For the last 3 years, they've been competing at the topmost level.
Same
And
goes to City, right? They won back to back.
yeah,
Yeah, back Premier
same.
League, right?
But the reason I go with Liverpool as number one over City is because I feel this year City would be finally targeting that Champions League. There'll be a huge focus because if you're getting Haaland, you're not just looking at Premier League, but I think Champions League is your target. So I feel Guardiola would put a lot of emphasis on the Champions League. So that's my first two, Liverpool and Man City. I would go third for Spurs just because first of all the manager amazing, a lot of experience. They've built on a squad that had, you could say, half good players and half crap players. So they've removed the crap and filled it out with good players. So that's quite interesting to see how those players come together and perform. I think in terms of attack, they've got one of the best attacks in the Premier League, with Son and Kane, and now Bissouma coming in to kind of provide those channels and routes for them to go from the back to forward. I think it's going to be Richarlison also there. So they've got a great attack. Their defense has always been weak, and they've hired, they've kind of taken care of that piece of the business as well. So I look at them as three. Um, I'm saying Arsenal at number four because of at least what I've seen of preseason so far. It's a little bit exciting compared to the years before. And if I may go a little bit further ahead, five and six, I would say Chelsea and Man United. Even Man United, I'm not fully confident, but Ten Hag, I think he'll definitely get quite a bit out of his team. But he really doesn't have. I don't think he has the best team yet to really compete for the top four. But Chelsea, the reason I put them in fifth place is because I feel confidence is not really high at the moment with that team, and I feel that Tuchel's going to have a tough time this year with keeping fans, with keeping people kind of motivated the whole season. It depends on maybe signings that they're able to bring in before the close of the window. But I see Chelsea having a good season, but they're going to be having some really tough games in terms of depth of squad because you are, as you said, in the Champions League, FA Cup, the League Cup, and Premier League. So there's a lot of pressure
Plus
on
the World Cup
Chelsea
is so good.
and a World Cup, yeah. So I don't see Chelsea having that depth of squad in terms of quality to really compete for the top four.
Interesting,
Yeah.
interesting. All right.
Yeah,
And
and yeah, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, talking about depth of squad, there's a new rule in the Premier League this year, right? There are five
Uh,
subs.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting that's a good topic to quickly touch upon. I think it's interesting because it's no longer kind of looking at tired players or bringing energy to game. This could literally be like a strategy. You could change your whole strategy of your game, your whole tactics, and
Yeah, it's literally half the team, right?
yeah, exactly. It's half a team, and you could go from and we've seen this in preseason with a lot of. I think a lot of managers have experimented where they've put in, one top half of the performance in the second half. They put in obviously every preseason they do this and they change all 11 players while playing. But I've seen them trying on this tactics and strategy, and this is where it becomes interesting this year is how do opposing team managers prepare for this, because obviously when you're preparing for a game you are looking at formation, you're looking at which players and who do you put on the pitch. So it's going to be a reaction kind of a thing, if you see two players coming on the pitch, who do I take off, who do I put into those places. So I feel it's going to be quite entertaining,
Yeah.
quite exciting. I don't think it's done for footballing purpose. I think it's done for entertainment purpose. So, you know, as, as a fan who's not going to the stadium or not really remotely involved with football, I cannot complain. I'm going to enjoy seeing, 16 players eventually coming onto the field and performing. I have no complaints. I like it.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting. But I think they've also done it considering the World Cup. Obviously,
Yeah,
they don't want to get burnt out, and players get enough rest, and that's where you spoke about the squad depth. So I think it's going to matter even more
yeah.
this year. So yeah, fingers crossed. our teams can do well.
Yeah, and speaking of squad depths, have you thought about who would be, in that relegation battle this year? For me, Fulham don't look like a side that is going to stay up for long. Yeah, they've got Leno, who's a really good keeper, but we've seen that with Arsenal. Without a proper defense in front of him, there's only so many miracles he can do. But I see Fulham struggling. I see Leeds going to be struggling this year as well. I would find it quite tough for them to stay up, and probably Bournemouth also would be struggling to stay up. I see Nottingham Forest probably being able to survive and keep their heads above the water. They've made, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 10 signings already this year, ever since they've been promoted. They've been back in the Premier League or the top league, I think, for the first time in over 23 years. So,
Wow.
congratulations to Forest fans. Quite an iconic team like Leeds as well, has a huge fan following. So, all the best to them. And I do feel that they'll stay up. Have you given a thought on the relegation battle at all?
Not much, but I don't know why I have the same feeling that Forest will stay.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just maybe we've just heard of them, in some of the commentaries, and then while watching some of the games that
yeah,
how good this used to be. So I think they'll stay, and I'll go with the same bottom three as you. So
yeah.
Fulham at the bottom, Bournemouth, and probably Leeds. I don't know if they'll be able to survive this
Yeah.
season.
Cool.
Yeah.
And let's move ahead to the games coming up. Obviously, again, another year, Arsenal opens up the Premier League, starting with the first match, Arsenal versus Crystal Palace. At the time we are recording, it's few hours away, the kickoff. And if you've not kind of registered for your Fantasy Premier League, make sure that you go on and register your teams, play. It's always fun to compete with your friends. My predictions for the game very quickly: Arsenal to win 3-1 against Crystal Palace. We're going away to Crystal Palace, but I'm quite confident given how, we've got our starting 11, we've got most of our players fit. That's my prediction. What about you?
Yeah, I was thinking 2-1 to Arsenal, because Palace away is not the easiest of the games, and
Yep.
after Vieira came to Palace, I think they have been a little solid defensively as well. So I'll go with 2-1. I think Arsenal should win this one,
They
considering
better after all of this.
they were they were flying in preseason. So yeah, I think Arsenal should win this one.
Yeah, I think, I mean, not just as a fan, I think Crystal Palace are good. Vieira's kind of done a great job with them, but um, I really don't see Arsenal really struggling. I mean, it's going to be a tough match, don't get me wrong, because there's always, when it comes to Crystal Palace, they're very physically strong, big players. They can literally bully any team. And if you look at
Yeah,
Arsenal, you don't really have that physicality. You look at Odegaard, Martinelli, Saka. You don't see a team that can really dominate
yeah,
physically. We got, yeah, Partey and Shaka and maybe Gabriel in defense,
yeah.
who are a little bit more physical, but not your top attack is not really a top striking team. So, but I think they'll do well. And then we've got, you guys are playing Everton. What's your prediction for that?
Uh, so Everton also they don't they haven't strengthened their defense, and Chelsea, they don't even have their striker. Calvert-Lewin is out. Rondon is suspended. Right, he picked up a red card, I think, in the last game of the season, so he's
Yeah.
suspended. I think this should be a comfortable 3-0
All
for
right,
Chelsea.
3-0. Yeah, I would go for a 2-0, obviously, over Everton. The reason I'm not going for three, because it's still Everton's home game. You
Hello.
guys are going away. Just looking at your preseason, I'm not
Oh
sure
no.
where those goals are going to come
Yeah.
from, and that's why I would say a 2-0. The other games, kind of to watch out: Fulham back in the Premier League, playing Liverpool at home. That's going to be a tough start to their Premier League campaign. I see Liverpool winning it. I wouldn't go into the predictions of that. I think for you as well, it's the same, right?
Yeah, I mean, without doubt. I just, I just hope they go easy on Fulham, man. Yeah, but there's one interesting game, and I think we have just enough time to cover that, right? The interesting game is West Ham United versus Manchester City, and I think they beat them last season, if I'm not wrong.
I think, yeah, and again, City is going away to West Ham. A lot of big teams playing away. If you see in the first half, Arsenal playing
Yeah,
away, Liverpool playing away, Man City playing away, Chelsea playing away, and the smaller teams obviously playing at home, like Manchester United and Spurs.
Tottenham.
And we are back. Yeah. So Manchester United versus Brighton, I don't see that going far. I would go for a prediction of Manchester City 1, Brighton 3. So, yeah.
Manchester United, you mean?
Yeah, sorry. Manchester United 1, Brighton 3.
Yeah,
I
I
hope.
think they should win that. Although Brighton is not the easiest team, but I think they should. First game in front of the home
Yeah.
fans,
I
new
think
manager, Yeah, so
I think they'll win. But I think it'll be interesting to see who's in the top 11 they're coming out on the pitch. Will Ronaldo still be in the club? We don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
let's wait and watch.
And that's on the game predictions. And from this week, I think we're starting a league of our own. So
Yeah,
if we get our predictions right, we get points. And obviously, if we don't get right, you get
so we'll
none.
we'll
None.
choose we'll choose one game. We'll choose one game every week,
Yep.
and we're gonna predict the score. So
Yeah.
whoever gets it right, as in, so the
So I
rules
mean,
were,
for
yeah,
this first episode, you have to take Arsenal versus Crystal Palace because that's the
yeah,
game that's kicking
yeah.
off
Let's
the season. So
yes.
let's again, just for the sake of this bet, what are we saying in terms of predictions?
I went for a 2-1, right?
Uh,
Arsenal.
Arsenal 2, Crystal Palace 1. I'm putting it down so that we don't forget.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm going for a 3-1, Arsenal to score 3, Crystal Palace to score 1. That's our predictions, and we'll see
You want to let our viewers know what the scoring is like?
like who's going to be scoring the goals.
No, no, no.
Oh
What is
yeah,
the
for
scoring?
yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
So all right, so this is how it works. Every week we predict one match. We choose which match we're going to predict. We predict which team is going to win and by how many goals they're going to win. If either of us gets the prediction absolutely correct, which means the correct team as well as the correct number of goals, we get 3 points. If we pick the correct team but not the correct number of goals, we get 2 points. And obviously, if you don't get right, you get zero. So at the end of the year, whoever has the highest number of points gets bragging rights, and maybe we can decide what's the prize,
Yes.
or maybe the audience could decide whoever wins, what do they get from the other person. So if I win,
Oh,
what
that's
does
a great
Vijay
idea.
have to give me, and if Vijay wins, what do I have to give him? So audience
We'll
will
take
be
it
the
on.
judge of it.
All right.
And I think that's it. That's the end of our first episode. It was fun. I felt there's so much to discuss, and we just don't have
Yeah,
enough time to do that. But it was fun, Vijay. What about you?
man, I waited for this, man. I waited for this, and just so our viewers know, throughout the week, Valley and I haven't been in touch,
Yeah,
because busy week at Valley is in Amsterdam. I'm here, so we haven't been in touch, but we just texted each other like 1 hour back. Like,
yeah,
hey, you ready? Yeah, we're ready. Yeah, let's do it.
yeah,
So I love it, man. I love it. I'll wait for every week to talk to you, talk about football. Our favorite league is back. Our favorite sport is back. So
yeah. And then just, I mean, just on that, it shows, we are not some expert pundits. We are not some guys who prepare some great production value. This is real fans talking about real passion for the game,
Yeah.
We don't need to prepare. We don't need 1 hour's production time. We just say, okay, let's get on the on
Oh
the
my God.
camera and let's do it. So this is fun. Should do this weekly, more
Yeah.
consistently. Till the next episode, it's bye from me.
Bye, guys.
Bye everyone. Take care.
Enjoy the first week and Ali, enjoy the game. You're kicking off the Premier League. Wish you all the best and wish your team all the best, man.
You too.
Thank you so
Wish you
much
all the best,
and see
man,
you next.
and talk to you next week. Bye.
What? 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 What?